music production.
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? You already know who it is, and I'm back in front of you yet again. And if you don't know me, I am the one, the only King A.D.S, or just A.D.S, or Ayaya the Shadow, which is what A.D.S stands for. And a rough translation is a shadow presence, you know what I'm saying? And here I am in front of you to do what I love to do, which is connect with you and to let you know that I am indeed a real person, a living, breathing soul individual here with you on this journey. And just want to share any insight or knowledge or anything that I've ever learned or picked up or that I just find interesting, some topics or whatever. Also, I'm a music guy first and foremost, so definitely go check out all my music on my channel and all over my links. Definitely get with me. I love to have you with me on this adventure, this journey, this odyssey, this exploration, whichever way you want to state it. And let's get active. So what I wanted to talk about right now real quick, just to touch on it, is kind of like an eye-opening situation, or like a realization that a lot of creatives, this is more or less for creatives or for anyone who's trying to branch out and do their own thing, but yet they're surrounded by some of the negative constructs that seem to dictate some of the directions that we'll take with our decisions in our lives. And we do get into that quite a bit in these topics, in these videos and everything like that. And the reason I was inspired to just get up on here with you real quick was because of something that I saw, like, you know, the trends of today in the music, especially in rap, gangster rap, with all the amount of violence that the music is starting to attract, and cause a ripple effect as it's expressed in a creative manner. Then someone dictates that, or emulates that in the streets. And then now the next level of that expression is going to be what these people have lived through and done, but in more of an enforcing manner, like this is what we do and this is how our culture gets down, which is not necessarily true when it comes to the art form of rapping in general. It's just another creative outlet and a way to get away from all that negativity and positive and negativity and destructive concepts and constructs that are around people on a daily basis. So it's a way to change your life and enrich your life and uplift your community. But the times we're in now, you see the trends that destroy the community and destroy the potential of the mind to grow and expand and to branch out and just blossom and become this wonderful, beautiful thing that you actually are. And so, as a music guy myself, I've been at it for years, years and years. I have been very fortunate to be able to rock stages with names over the years, whether it was in hip hop or rock music or like electronic underground stuff and everything. And it's been a wonderful journey. And some of the advice or jewels that I would pick up along the way, and one of them that stuck with me is like how you can't serve two masters. And I'm not the only one you'll hear say that, but it's a definite truth that you can't serve two masters. Once you decide to, take a step, set your foot forward on a road of a new, what do you want to call it? Like a new endeavor, a new adventure, a new skill, all those things. Once you start on that journey, you have to immerse yourself in it. And in order to do that, you're going to have to shut out a lot of excess, unnecessary energy in your life, especially the negative stuff, because progress and negativity, they just don't mix. They're like oil and water. And so when it comes to like certain lifestyles that are being portrayed in songs, when you have a youth like a young person who is just learning everything and everything's new, when they hear that kind of stuff said in the songs, and then they see the images that are coupled with the lyrics of the songs, they start to believe that, oh, all you got to do is, claim this side or that side, be down with the get down, lower your standards on the value of life, and it's essentially, take on a new set of ethics, right? A new code of ethics, which would, in some people's eyes, it would be, less value on life, and stick to that, and that will make you cold and ruthless to the point where you can just take what you want, when that's not true. That's an illusion. Life is about balance. When they try to emulate that, most of the time what you're going to see is people either die, get mortally wounded, or end up in jail and have a career of going in and out of the system. And that in turn messes with your reputation, image, your own self-image too, your own self-esteem, and how you can see yourself in the ways that you could expand and excel in your life, and will ultimately confine you within those experiences and your own inner thoughts, which will create your own hell. The energy that you'll put out will just always invite the setbacks into your life again and again and again. And you will find that even if you were talented, the company you keep or the activities that you're involved with will often take you away from the goal that you're trying to reach, or it will push away the resources from the goals that you're trying to reach. Because after all, people that are successful have amassed a great deal of things, wealth and materials and good families and friendships and circles, and are not eager to just throw that away just because someone said something about them or some of their peoples, or you know what I mean. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more mature and grown. And is that pussy? No. What it is real. It's realistic, and it's real. If you have nothing to lose, that's a self decision. But if you ever hope to have anything, you're going to have to make a change. These things just don't mix together. Just like dealing and music, they don't necessarily mix together. Is there opportunities to sell drugs? And I hope that I don't get, bleeped or anything for saying this on any platform. But just saying, with those type of activities, often, and you would have opportunities to do that, but you're a public figure, whether small or big, so the trails that lead back to you are easy to trace. So it's definitely not a good idea, not a good career decision, as you're making new connections and branching out with people that spend a lot of time in some sort of public eye, or have to answer to legitimate professional businesses and things like that. So you'll want to be thinking about these things on your road. Life is not a fantasy, but it's not a fantasy, it's a reality. And you have to play chess, not checkers. So all the short-term things that people think about, that think that that's going to be cool, it's just a bunch of bullshit, and it doesn't work. It's a joke. So you don't want to be playing yourself. That's what we used to say, you playing yourself. So don't play yourself. Just know the lanes that you step into, be okay with that and be proud of that, and step up and move forward and do something that can better your life. And in that way, you can help others. You know what I'm saying? And you can show them how to change what they going through too. So that way we can get out of this cycle. It's not about bringing new souls in to show them that they ain't shit and that they never could be shit, and that you should never think of yourself anything other than shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all in where it starts is inside your heart and your mind. You know what I'm saying? Because your soul came, it's this energy, and it's going to vibrate with whatever energy is put into it is going to reverberate it. You keep yourself in the positive, you're going to keep doing positive things. You get into the negative, you're going to start losing everything you work for. But like things like that though, yeah, most of the time don't end up working out like the fantasy plays in the head. It ends up working out in a more negative fashion. It brings heat or unneeded attention to anything that these people are doing, and it starts to attract company that, or even if you don't attract that attention, the company you keep will in turn attract that unwanted attention, and then it will escalate and turn into other things. Or the people around you who rarely will crack a book open, but we'll crack your melon open. We'll be there and get jealous of you. And since they're not gonna be like, their plans ain't like your plans. Like we talked about that in another video about intents, dictating the course of actions and how they'll kind of unfold, and they have symptoms of the intent of the individual. You know what I mean? So people got to be real careful about that. But yeah, man, I mean, but and we talk about it all the time, sleepwalking, thinking that what you're walking through is the reality, that you should be mindful of, when it's actually a fabricated illusion. And so you have to be very careful of what you take in, mind, body, and soul. You know what I'm saying? You have to be careful of, you are what you eat, right? In short. So you have to be careful of what you take in, because some of these things could be narratives, where like how Shakespeare said, everyone is a play and everyone plays their part. To be real mindful of what is going on in front of you and all around you, what you take in and what you hear and what you see, because they are attached to agendas from companies that turn numbers through partnerships off of loans and expectation of dividends created, you know what I'm saying, profits and things like that. So they try to compartmentalize people into certain boxes in society, and they'll want people more or less to fall into there, because we'd be the consumer mass, you know what I'm saying? So to them, we're a farm of consumers to pluck at any time. So all those things that are being copied come from someone else's agenda. And people, like I've heard someone recently say, oh, but like all this gangster stuff is what fuels the rap or hip hop market. And I had to stop them and say, no, no, actually, that's not true. And I want to say that to you too. That's not true. There's a difference. Hip hop and gangster rap, they're different. You know what I'm saying? There's people who are aware of conscious and hip hop type rap and love that stuff, and they're in gangster rap too, and vice versa, and like well-rounded kind of, but as talents, I'm saying, and situations in life too. But there is a distinct difference. You know what I'm saying? And I had to let them know that no, the change came because I was a little older than them. And so I had to let them know, no, the change came because I was around when these corporations started to get a hold of the influence. They had ownership buying up a few of these companies, you know what I mean? And so they started to have more of an influence over the sound and the image that would be portrayed throughout the music. And then you can hear other people have videos and stories and talk about the meetings and different things that they sat in on, or other people sat in on or heard or worked for this or that. And then later on, they got to let it out. But I can tell you from where I was too, that even there, that was the whole nine right there. That was the whole rollout. That was the whole story, the whole script. You know what I mean? So a lot of the things that you are growing up on are dictated off of a false image, which someone came up with, like a movie concept, or like a fantasy story. You know what I mean? And you see that now because a lot of people add things to stories as it go from ear to ear, from mouth to mouth, right? They add things, the story change. Next thing you know, it's about this or that and the third. It didn't start that way, and the circumstances of how it came up were also different. It wasn't just like motherfuckers was dumb and crazy and said let's do stupid shit. They were like, hey, let's try to be a force of resistance in our community to the oppressive nature that we are facing, and let's try to rise above poverty. At the same time, you had other people who were in a rock and a hard place and took deals, and it was well known in public information that it was inside law enforcement and military and government officials and all kinds of things like that. You know what I mean? So how hard is it to believe that some of the stuff that you buy into a crock of shit? You know what I mean? So, like for instance, if people think that, now don't kill the messenger, but don't shoot the messenger, right? That's what they say. But I already know this. I know this for a fact. And Cali is my home. I'm from New York originally. I was born in Brooklyn, but Cali is my home. And I've had homies that's, represent one or another nature or this or that or the third. And I know this, that BLOOD stands for brotherly love, overriding oppression and destruction. Okay, first and foremost. CRIP means citizens, resistance, and progress. I think I got that right. It might be citizens, might be a different word, but it means the same thing basically, though. Citizens, resistance, and progress. So when you take those type of phrases, at face value, hearing what they're about, they're more in a positive nature and community and bringing things together. And also, what I learned as a youth was that there were times when both sides kind of would work together in certain situations to make things happen in the community in a positive situation. So when we go forward and the stories change, the narratives, there may be like a few people, but it's not the whole thing across the board. But then as narratives move forward and change, we have new generations that live under a different set of codes. You know what I'm saying? But then as we go further, entertainment and everything starts to influence the lifestyle and the mind. So now it's like art dictating life, life dictating art type of thing, going around and around in circles again, kind of weird, you know. Because then you have people living out mobster movies and stuff in their head, and some of those stories were fake. You know what I mean? Those stories weren't real. Some of them stories were not real. Some of them were. We know this, right? I come from the place where a lot of that shit was real. But I'm just saying, some of these stories, they ain't real. You know what I'm saying? They written scripts, the entertainment. It's a what if situation. If this type of figure was in this other scenario and they put it on the screen for you to watch, it's an entertainment thing, but it's not all the way it was cracked up, in real life, like with the other figures, as it would, be cracked up to be all the way. But just saying that you have to be very mindful of what you start to emulate, because then you have people just going out here for the sake of, oh, they're wearing this other color, or they just live in this area. It's open season. There was actually rules of conduct and engagement and all these different things in place all the time. So it's like it steps over from reality into a fantasy realm, but it's a destructive fantasy too, so it's nothing to like laugh at. I'm not laughing at it. I'm just the absurdity of thinking that you can follow this road, be successful, or come out on top is ridiculous. Most of the time it's going to destroy you and everything around you, and all the things that you love and hold dear. Your dreams will crumble and slip away. You're always much better than that. You always can achieve way more. I've always said most hustlers don't know it, but they're entrepreneurs. So if they can find a way to focus their time and energy, then they can actually be very successful, because a lot of those type of people are charismatic and can kind of figure people out and see what makes people tick. And that's a big part of getting along in life, especially with being successful and making connections and things like that. Charismatic type of nature, can speak well, have a well command of the English language or any language, but well command of the language, a good command of the language, a good understanding of topics and things, good awareness. You know what I mean? It's nice to be able to make a connection with people and step out into the light and do it, because you can't be stopped from doing that. But it really sucks to have such good qualities and not be able to show them to the world the way you're supposed to be able to, because that's your strength. And all the people I know that claim stuff and done all kinds of stuff, those people, man, I remember thinking ever since like junior high, high school, all the way up, I remember thinking like they don't fit that. They just don't fit that. They don't belong there. They too smart. They too creative. They got options. You know what I'm saying? They're a person with options. They actually have options. But it's like they're stuck in a mode. And it could be the energy that's surrounding them, which touched on that before. These things are very valuable because they keep coming back up in circles. You will have to distance yourself one way or the other. You have to connect with people who are more like you, not just, positive, but more like you as well. And if it's not in your area, then your efforts when you're going to school or going to work or whatever, maybe you find people who live in different areas so you can go there and try to do something a little bit different, so that way you can have a comparison to base your contrast of comparison on. Have something to weigh it out against, because there's function and dysfunction, and that shit's real. You know what I mean? And it sucks to see people stuck in an illusion and in a trap, walking in a deadly spiral, versus breaking out of the chains that are shackling them and just being free the way they were meant to be when they came here, using all their strength for things that change the landscape for the better, not inviting in the destruction of themselves and everything else around them. And I mean everything, because it's inevitable, because that's just how that works. That's just how negativity works. Negative borrows energy from positive and breaks things down. When there's nothing left, it devours itself. It's just the way it works scientifically, universally, in the balance of reality. That's just what it is, you know. And so, when I look out and see the community and the state that it's in, it really, and that's why I started doing some of these videos to begin with. And I didn't even know how I was going to come at it, but that's why I started doing it, because the information was coming to me at such an alarming rate. And it's not just like it was the start of it, but it was coming to me. And from that, I was like, wow, if I hold all this in, I kind of feel guilty, because I had the wrench that they needed. I had the tool that they may have needed. It might have helped them. I don't know if it's the one they needed, but it could have helped them. And if it did, then I'm kind of just as bad as the people setting the traps for you, because I can tell you there was a rope right there and I didn't. I just walked by, and that just make me awful. So it may not be like I'm the best source. You may get this information from another place. That's cool. But I'm here right now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm someone, if you do know me and you did meet me and everything, that I'm here and I'm stating this right now in the real time. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's up. And representing. And like I always say, check out everything I do. All the music, all my talk topics, everything like that. And just want to spread that positivity, that warmth, and that growth. And I just want to keep doing my thing. I'm going to be trying out new stuff, little skits, and talk more about some music topics and things like that a little bit more in the future, coming up soon too. So it's going to be a new challenge, and I'm going to try to do a little bit more with editing if I can. It's really tough. One man army, one man band right now, but it's all good. My harmonica is polished and I'm ready to go. All right, y'all. Until the next episode, I love y'all. Like the video, subscribe, come along for the journey. Check out my links. I'll be right back at you. Peace.